Hey there, Chris from the Old Man Cycling Show with my first race of the season. This was the Daniel Harvey 34th Annual Lower Providence Spring Classic Criterium. It was held April 24th, 2022 in Audubon, PA. This is the Masters 55 Plus race. I think there were 60 some people that signed up for the race. And then I forget, I think 58 actually finished the race. So, I'll just give a little commentary as you go. So, when the race first starts here, you're going to notice that, the miles per hour will go up, the heart rate will go up, but you won't see anything. Like right now, you're not seeing anything for watts. That's because my power meter was asleep. It took a little bit for it to sort of kick in. And then once that kicks in, you'll see my RPMs and my wattage go up. But you can see in the map in the upper right, we are moving, and now my power meter woke up. So good thing. So this was a fun race. I really liked this course. Wide open, no traffic on it. Roads were in good shape. Coming into turn 2, which is down at the bottom of this little hill, there was some sewer work done earlier. There was a little patch across the street, but you didn't even notice it. Once you got going, it was nice and smooth. So, my goal with this race was, it was my first race this season. I really just wanted to see how my legs felt. I didn't do as much training this off season as I did the last year, primarily because of my shoulder, and it was just too cold for me to be outside, to be honest with you. I do not enjoy cold weather. So even on this day, it was a little chilly out there. There was a good breeze. Originally, early in the week, they were calling for it to be 84 degrees. I think at the time our race started, it had just reached 60. Maybe it was still under 60. I know during the warm-up earlier, it was 50 degrees. I had my jacket on. I wanted to keep my sweatpants on, but I figured, better start getting used to the weather. So anyway, this is the uphill part of the course. If you're familiar with the course, it's freshly paved, and this part was fast. This new pavement, I don't know what it is about new pavement, but everybody seems to like it. Everybody seems to like to go fast on it. So this uphill little section, which I wouldn't even call an uphill, it's just a grade that goes up, was fast. So in the first couple laps, everybody's sort of getting a feel for it, and just seeing what happens. So. It was. I'm sort of sitting towards the middle to back of the pack. Like I said, I just wanted to get used to riding in a group again. This is the first real, active group ride race that I've done since last September, September 11th actually, and it was on the same course, my last race. So I'm just sort of hanging out. It's 15 laps, so we've just completed lap 1, and. I figure, I want to see what goes on, let things sort of sort their way out. And then, my strategy, if you want to call it that, was, to start moving with about 8 miles to go. And as you'll see, that was a little misguided strategy because there was a break that went early. I think they even went on this lap, and they never looked back. They got ahead, and by the end of the race, they were probably, a full straightaway ahead of the group. And, there were several hard efforts to try to close that down that just didn't do anything. There was, I think, about 8 or 9 really, really strong riders in that break that got off the front. So all in all, I was happy. Like right now, I'm just sort of settling in, not really doing much, just sort of following along, getting my legs good and warmed up, accelerating out of the corners, that kind of thing. There were some, so you see this on the left side here. This is a good spot to move up, but there's also some sewer grates. So I think right coming up here, you'll see that I either hit one or just avoid it, but I hit several of them. And on the one in particular, the guy next to me was like, that didn't sound good. And I was like, yeah, well, it didn't feel good either, because there were some, like there's this one right there that was outlined in orange. I hit that a couple times because there were a lot of people in a race. I mean, you really were taking up a lot of the road. So if you wanted to move, you had to find your spot. So here, I moved up on the outside just because I knew, I wanted to stay connected to the front of the race as much as I could. So, just pushed up this hill because, again, it was freshly paved. You could go nice and fast, and it was just an easy place to accelerate. So this is finishing up lap 2, and they claim it's a 15-mile course. Each lap is a little bit less than a mile, but it was really 15 laps. So at this point now, we see the lap counter probably won't come into focus, but there's 13 laps to go. And we're just going to continue, riding like this for a little bit. Again, there'll be some surges, some coming back. This is my friend Joe just moved up on the outside. Joe rode really strong today, and at one point you'll see later on in the race, Joe was trying to really close down that gap. He was working hard. That was the one thing I noticed. Like, it wasn't a cooperative group. A couple of the bigger teams had people out in the front brake, and they weren't going to help pull this group along to catch up. So there were a couple times where you'll see, there'll be one or two people at the front working really hard, and then they'll want somebody to pull through, and nobody does, and just things back off again. But it was a really good race, good effort. I was happy with how I rode. I think I'm riding a lot better. One of the things I was telling Steve Kay, our team owner, coach, and all-around good guy advisor, was I feel much more comfortable now if I need to insert myself back into the group. Steve gave me some pointers on how to do it, and I have a lot more confidence to it now. I'll ride along and I'll figure out where I want to go in, and just sort of it's like if you want to squeeze into traffic, you just sort of position yourself where you want to be, and people will eventually let you in. So you can see, I had an initial good burst coming out of that turn onto the straightaway, carrying good speed. And, once you get up to speed on here in a group, it wasn't hard. So we actually had a tailwind coming up here. Well, I would say like a tail quartering wind, because when you make this turn to top, it was right into a headwind. And as the day went on, the headwind here. So right now, we're in a headwind. And as the day went on, the headwind got stronger and stronger. I'm not sure what it was, but in the afternoon it had to be 20 miles an hour, 15 at least. So this was one spot where you definitely wanted to stay out of the wind. It was really like, there were a couple times I came through this straightaway on the front, and you could feel it. You could definitely feel you had to push to keep going. So that's our third lap down. Still a bit of ways to go, and hopefully I can find some music to put in the background here, so you don't have to listen to me drone on the whole time. But again, we had a good practice on Friday night before this, just to do the refreshing of cornering, and it really did help a lot. Just to get it back into your head. Keep your inside leg up, put your weight on your outside leg, but your inside arm, and really helps keep the bike, your center of gravity over the bike. And the one thing I'll say is, you see these guys, the majority are riding in the drops. It's just so much easier to control your bike in the drops. You have to get used to it if you haven't done it, but it's just a much easier way to manage the bike, handle the bike, as well as it, does get you some aerodynamic advantage. If you're in the drops, you're not as exposed to the wind as if you're up on the hoods. You can see this guy right there. He's up on the hoods. His chest is sort of open. The air's hitting it. That can slow you down. Whereas a guy in the white that just went by, he's in the drops, and it really is significant, especially when you've got any kind of headwind. So this is by far my favorite turn. I love coming out of this turn because you just you can go through it fast and you hit this fresh pavement, and this fresh pavement it was fun. It was fun to go up it. So anyway, this is going to continue on for a little bit. We're coming up on to the finish of the fourth lap. So you come up this into turn 4, and turn 4 is a straightaway. But yeah, again, this was nice. You can see I'm coasting, being sucked along at like 22 miles an hour because the road's just so smooth, and it was a good group. The only problem that I did find was there were opportunities where I wanted to pass, I wanted to get out, but you sort of get, you can see right here, I got somebody on the left, I got people coming up on the right. I really didn't have an opportunity to move out around the guy in the orange right in front of me, which I wanted to do before this next corner, but at the same point in time, it'll work out eventually. So it was good to have a big group, and at the same time, it did, I wouldn't say cause issues, but it did make you think about when you were going to try to move, and you wanted to make sure you made your move before the next turn so you were set up for the turn properly. So again, believe it or not, this is a downhill part, but because the way the wind was blowing, it was sort of like almost a headwind on the finishing straight, but it was sort of like a little quartering headwind. So here it was also felt like a headwind. So even though we're going downhill, the speed last year, this was the fastest part. Going through here and going through turn 2 was by far the fastest, but this year it was really turn 3 through turn 4. But you see, the normal thing, everybody gets through a turn, little surge to move ahead. I felt pretty good that way. I didn't drop a whole lot in the turns. If I did drop, it was just because of traffic. I think this might be the one. There was a manhole cover. I hit that a lot. This might be the one where I came close. There's sewer grate right there. I hit, and that one freaked me out a little bit because it was right at the turn. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to turn while I'm in this sewer grate. That one I went on the inside of that sewer grate, which was actually, I'm impressed with my bike handling skills. Didn't take anybody out either, which is always a good thing. You don't make a lot of friends in a group that way. So again, this part of the road was great. If they repaved this whole thing, I can't imagine how fast the race would be. It was really, really nice having that smooth pavement, really fast, and obviously you go faster on the smooth stuff because there's no bumps, taking your power away or taking your tires off of the contact with the pavement. So, and I felt good. I felt I felt my strength was good. I never felt like I was pushing too hard and I was going to lose any stamina or anything. So I don't know if I attribute that to a little bit less heavy training in the off season. I definitely took some time off because of my shoulder and other things. But yeah, I felt good. I could push for a hard effort and recover right away, or I could push for a consistent effort and then back off a little bit and recover pretty quickly. So overall, I felt strong. I think I'm getting a happy balance. I have to thank Brian on our team for putting together a really, really good off-season training plan. I found that probably helped my strength the most. Plus, I did lose a little weight. Still want to lose a little bit more to get my power to weight ratio up. But I'm happy with how it went. There's that manhole cover again. Always a joy. And now you can see that time I didn't hit the grate. But this turn, it's a fast turn. I hit that one, but it's a fast turn. It's a good turn, but it was probably the most problematic turn in terms of as you got to the end of the race, that's where people were trying to dive into the inside and accelerate onto this flat part to go up. The problem was, the last 2 laps of the race, you're going through that turn 4 wide, and there's no room on the inside because everybody has a line, and people expect you to make room for them. Well, that's just not smart riding. You can't force yourself into that because you're going to take everybody out, which did happen in one of the races. I think it was the Cat 4 race. There was a big crash at the end, right in front of that turn 4. One guy really, you can see here, I decided it was time to move up a little bit. I was feeling like I was getting too far back. You can see there's some guys off the front trying to chase down the brake. The brake's already gone by now. And those two guys that were just off the front are trying to chase that down. But I wanted to get closer to the front here. I felt like I was drifting a little bit sooner than I wanted to. I really wanted to wait till I was in like the 8 laps to go. We're on lap 7 now, I believe. So there's like 9 laps to go. But it's still, again, I actually had a plan going into this, and I just about executed it. But anyway, getting back to the turns, on the Cat 4 race, the very last turn, turn 4, there's a blacktop right around the sewer drain, and somebody hit that. Who tried to cut the inside, had a horrible line. You could tell, like we were standing opposite of that on the grass, saying, that guy's in too tight. He's not going to make it. And sure enough, he just hit that thing and he washed out. I would say probably 10 or 12 bikes went down. I don't have any video of it, but it was nasty. It was a nasty crash, and it was just because he tried to go where he shouldn't be. At speed, you can't try to dive inside. You're not going to be able to take a good line around it. You're going to drift out, and when you're that tight and that fast, it doesn't take much to make things fall over. This group was good about it. I think everybody here has enough race experience where, listen to me talking like I have a lot of race experience, has enough race experience where they're going to ride and they ride smart. They don't really try to make themselves fit where they can't. So right here, you come around this turn, and you can see that black area right there. That's where the guy's wheel hit in the Cat 4. I mean, he just went across the road and took out 10 people. So it's your typical crit. There's surges, and then there's spots where you sort of catch on. Like this was probably. The other thing that I felt like I definitely kept myself out of the wind, as opposed to hanging out to the side trying to find a place in, because I feel more comfortable reinserting myself back into the group. I definitely felt more, if you want to use the word rested, I felt more rested and better paced in this race because I was able to stay in a draft of people in front of me. So that was a good thing. That really helped. At no point in this race did I feel like, I'm going too hard. I'm going to burn out and I'm not going to make it, which is always a plus. Whereas I have to say, last year a couple times, I didn't necessarily have that feeling. A couple times, like, oh man, I hope I can hold this to the end, but didn't happen in this race or the second one I did this day. I did 2 races today. I did this is the Masters 55 plus, and then I also did the Masters 45 plus. I just find it really pretty amazing that you can be putting out, very, very minimal watts going along at 27, 28 miles an hour. Now, of course, going up this, I'm trying to move up a little bit, get in a better position to get that all important on the straightaway, be where I want to be. So at this point, the race is about halfway through. You can see we're at 7.5 miles. I think the actual race ended up being like, I want to say 14.6, somewhere in that area. Yeah, now I think this is the time where there's Joe on the front, and I'm just like, nobody saw him. Like, you see this guy, he's looking back, he wants this guy in the black to come by, but he doesn't. So I figured, I do a little bit of a turn at the front. I felt good. I felt like, I was able to, and you'll see a guy come by on the right here, followed by another guy, and then my goal at that point was to try to catch those two guys. So here's the first one. I'm like, okay, well that's not a problem, you know. But then after we make this next turn, another guy comes by, and I'm like, oh man, now I got to go try to catch him. Well, that was hard. Like, so you see, I'm keeping my wattage pretty high, especially when this second guy's going to come by any second now. Don't make a liar out of me, because I was in the race. I remember it. There he goes. And so now, you know, those two guys are gonna team up, and I'm like, okay, well, you know, it'd be nice to catch on to them because they're moving pretty good. But again, there's still a break that's well up the road. I didn't know how far it was. I had a friend, and also Steve was there yelling, you know, 30 seconds or whatever it was, but they were moving, and you know, it was going to be hard to try to catch them. So, you know, I'm just trying to get back onto these guys' wheels. Doing a good effort, you know, coming up this nice smooth road. And it was at some point, I think it was right around here, where Joe's right behind me. Joe's like, hey, go get those guys. And I'm like, hey, I would if I could, man. I'm pretty much, you know, don't want, this is where you have to be smart. I didn't want to burn out. So you're going to see right here, Joe, who rode strong, takes off, and I move over and get back to his wheel. But there he goes, and you know, he's going to shut this down. You're going to see a bunch of other guys come, all get in, and we'll regroup. But again, now is really good. Like, you can see, you know, my heart rate was pretty high, you know, up around 166. But now we're taking it easy a little bit. I'm able to recover a little. So, you know, this was the good part of the race. Like, so we brought those two guys, were back in, and from this point out, you know, people would go, they get caught. People would go, they get caught. But it was, you know, I think pretty much everybody figured at this point we're not going to catch the guys in the front. So we have about 6 more laps to go. You know, again, we're back into the good part of the course where you can get some speed up on this part and really come into that nice. Again, I love the fresh blacktop. They should repave all the courses right before we race on them. That'd be fun. I have to talk to the organizers about that. But you can see, like, on this, like, you know, if you look at where the front of the group is, which is where I was just a little bit ago, you know, I've dropped back a little bit, but wasn't concerned about it. I felt very comfortable, like, knowing I could accelerate up, you know, just find the right spot, and I could get up to the front of this group anyway, you know, when needed. So I like that part of it. So I was actually thinking of, when I was putting this together, you know, cutting out certain parts and editing things out. But, you know, for me personally, I like watching the entire race. I use this as you know, sort of like my post-race analysis. Just like, you know, coaches watch film of their games and everything. I like to look at this to see where I think I should have done this different or done that different. And I do actually pick stuff up from it every time I do it. So, you know, from that point of view, it's a good thing for me to watch the whole race. And you know, you can always fast forward if you're watching the video, but I'd appreciate if you didn't. And while we're talking about that, you know, subscribe to the channel. I get a lot of views of my races, but I don't have a lot of subscribers. So subscribe to the channel, give it a thumbs up. You know, any of those types of things would be most appreciated. You know, I like filming these things. I want to do better. I want to get you know, better input. You know, things you'd want to see in the videos, other types of things. I did try using some of the, you know, live sound as I was recording, but because of the wind, it's impossible. So actually considering getting one of those there's sort of like a mic that's covered with some kind of big fluffy thing that cuts down the air, but it won't work with my video camera because I'd have to have the one bay open, and it wouldn't fit in the holder. So I'd have to rig something up to do that, and I don't really want to do that because right now the camera I use is a Hero GoPro 7, and it's waterproof. It's sealed up. So again, here's another section where trying to just take my turn in front, do some work, help out where I can. But like I said earlier, there's no chance that we're going to bring back the front group. So at this point, let's see. I think we have 4 laps to go at this point. That's gonna be my guess. So we're getting close to the end of the race. So now I'm starting to think, okay, now I really do care about where I am. I want to start being in the right position. I want to stay up towards the front of this group. I did a poll, and I took a little bit of time to recover, but now I'll slowly start working my way up. That's the plan anyway. But again, you can see this happened quite a lot. Like, we'd come around that turn and you'd have a good head of steam, but then everything would just sort of bunch up and nobody was really trying to go anywhere. Again, I believe this has to do with, we figured our group was going to finish together. We weren't going to catch the front group, so there was no no rational reason to bury it. It just wasn't going to go anywhere. So it's just sort of, okay, now we're going to ride for the rest after the first group goes through. And you see again, nobody's really pushing too hard across here. I mean, they are going at a good rate of speed. And just again, really like this. I just like the stretch of the course too, because it's a good spot to you had to put out a little bit of power if people were accelerating. It was a good spot to make up space. As long as you got the right line, you weren't stuck in the middle. You could move there. So now we're in the home stretch, and I think after this there will be 3 laps to go. Here comes the start finish line right there. Yeah, there wasn't really anything sketchy in this race. There weren't any close calls, I would say. This was I'll use the word a gentlemanly race. People were trying, and people were doing things, and you get the occasional back on your hip to let somebody's coming this way or sort of move you in position. But that's fine. That's part of racing. That's not a problem. What you don't want to see is you don't want to see unpredictable behavior. Especially like you can see I'm close to the curb. If somebody comes on my right side and sort of tries to move me left, I got nowhere to go. So that didn't really happen. There wasn't any panic. There wasn't any the roads closing, it's shutting down. So this was I'm telling you, I love this course for the first race this season. It's really something that you can test yourself on. It's not a crazy technical course, very open corners, nice corners. So just a good course. So coming back into the finishing straight, go through this time. We'll have 2 laps to go. So, nobody's really doing anything crazy yet. There's some people trying to move. So I got on this guy's wheel to move up a little bit closer to the front. So I have to say, I'm not a especially strong sprinter, but I do like to try. So yeah, it was fun. So I'm sort of just again, I got one more lap. The next lap's the bell lap. So this is where I'm gonna make sure I'm in the right spot, ready to go. So we'll come up the hill. People are now starting to move to the front to get ready for that last lap. And we're coming into the last lap now. So we'll go across the start finish line. And that should be the bell, if I did my counting right. And I'm happy, I'm happy with my position. You can see, I was able to save a lot coming down here. I'm in a good draft, very, very little power being applied. Everybody's sort of waiting for that last big hurrah. So we'll come through here. I did like taking turn 3 on the outside. Obviously, it was faster on the inside, but I didn't want to be that guy to get pinched off. So I tended to be on the outside of turn 3. I will say that in this race I was on the outside of turn 4. The inside of turn 4 was the place to be for the finish, but that's okay. So now we're coming up the hill for the final time. We're gonna kick it into the finish. So you can see starting to move a little bit. People are trying to move up. And we'll make this turn. The video is going to end pretty quick right after this turn, so I just wanted to say, I did okay. We're in the sprint now. I got 24th out of 58 finishers, which I'm happy with. There were 68 people, I think, for the race. I moved up a little bit there. But thanks for watching. This was Chris from the Old Man Cycling Show saying peace.